Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Of course, my name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome all back to another DC Comics Superheroes Lego set review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at one of the 4 or 5 brand new sets that have come out for the DC Comics superhero lineup, which is really cool. Some of them look incredible, including this one here today, which is, of course, set number 76027, Black Manta Deep Sea Strike, where, of course, as you can see, Mr. Black Manta in his ship, or I guess it'll be kind of like a submarine, striking upon Robin, grabbing him and holding him, I should say, captive, and then it is Batman and Aquaman coming to the rescue. So, of course, this set does feature 2 vehicles, a little bit of a nice little setup right there as, I guess, a prison for Mr. Robin, or any other minifigure for that matter. A really cool shark that is actually armed, so that's really awesome and funny at the same time. And 4 really neat minifigures, including a brand new minifigure in the form of Black Manta. We get Aquaman, Scuba Robin, who looks quite interesting actually, and last but certainly not least, Batman, along with the brand new Super Jumper. That being said, of course, really nice recreation shot right here to kind of make it seem like obviously it's in the deep sea or underwater, so I really like that effect. I love the little bubbles even coming off, so it's a nice little touch there for sure. Now, if we flip the packaging on over, of course, you could see all of the lovely features that are going to be available, along with a more detailed shot of the set itself, and then of course it also exemplifies to us how the brand new Super Jumper functions. That being said, of course, let's go on ahead and put this guy together. It's going to be a little bit of a longer put together than usual because it's 387 pieces, but we'll get through it and then we'll take a look at all the goodies inside, shall we, guys? Alrighty guys, so let's begin reviewing the set by taking a look at all of the minifigures. So first and foremost, of course, we have the one, the only, the Dark Knight himself, Batman, who does look quite cool indeed. I do find it interesting that they replaced the cape with a different fabric, a different completely design. For example, this is the typical cape. It was a lot more stringent and just kind of a weirder material, but the thing that I like about this cape a little bit better is that it's a nicer fabric, which means that it's not going to get bent out of shape like this one. For example, if you bend this one, it's going to be very difficult to get it to look good again, whereas this one can kind of be a little bit more free-flowing, which is really, really cool. I also like the brand new mask that they have adjusted. Of course, here's the previous mask that we were given before, so we got a little bit of a shorter ear design, and as you can see, the actual chest is also a different print work, which is really, really nice. Same thing goes for the back, and we do get two different expressions. One, of course, the scuba diving Batman, so that he can obviously go on this mission, and then the other is the more typical white-eyed Batman, so you have both options available to you. Alrighty, next up, of course, after Batman, we gotta take a look at Boy Wonder himself, scuba diving Robin. Of course, he does come with these little flippers, but I can't have him wearing them if he is on this little stand. This is actually a pretty surprisingly cool looking minifigure. I love the little print work right there on the chest. You can see the big R logo right there. I really love the little goggles that come up like so if you want, you could actually pick those up. The set actually does come with a replacement pair as well, and also another pair of handcuffs, so that's really nice. If those break, you have a little bit of replacements available to you. You can also, of course, remove the mask completely to display the little breathing apparatus, and then have the other Robin face expression as well if you'd like to have the more shocked one right there, so that is available to you indeed. And then, of course, on the back, he does have the little breathing apparatus so that he could, well, obviously breathe underwater, which is pretty important. And another really cool element is that if you want, you could actually remove the helmet, and then the set does come with an extra hairpiece so that you could have the more traditional looking Robin, and the hair does cover up the other face, so you don't have to be concerned about that, which is really, really cool. Alrighty guys, so next up, of course, the leader of the ocean, of course, the king of Atlantis himself, the one, the only, Aquaman. Really, really cool. Of course, he's got his Justin Bieber haircut, the nice orange and green classic outfit for Aquaman. You can also see that really cool trident in hand. In fact, you're given two of them, one for the little column type thingamajig display, which we'll take a look at in just a moment, and the other for Mr. Aquaman to hold. So that's really, really cool indeed. I love the scaled look on the chest there, which is really cool, and it is actually carried through onto the back. And just like the two previous minifigures, he does have two different face expressions, one where he is very, very upset and angry, and the other, of course, the one that you just saw, which is the more kind of neutral expression, not too happy but not too upset either. I am sure, however, if Aquaman were to be upset, it would probably have something to do with this fella right here, and that is, of course, Black Manta. I really, really love this minifigure. This was the minifigure I was most excited for, just because we've gotten Aquaman minifigures before, we've gotten Batman minifigures before, and we certainly have gotten Robin minifigures before, but this is the first time that we got a Black Manta minifigure, or at least to my recollection, and I really, really love this thing. I love the way that they managed to pull off the head sculpt. It's just super duper neat. I love those beating red eyes. I love the way that this whole little mechanism comes together, as you saw during the assembly part. The print work on the chest, it's a little dark, but there is detail work there with the dark blue to emphasize the abs and such, and then the little red apparatus right up at the top here to connect with his kind of like, I guess, breathing mechanism or something, which is pretty sweet indeed. So now let's move on to all of the vehicles and the little structure in the set. So before we begin taking a look at the structure in front of us, I actually did want to, of course, showcase the new Super Jumper, which is the new little accessory that they provide you with inside the set, and it is actually a pretty simple little item. And basically the way it works is you place any minifigure of your choice onto both of these little pegs right on here. Then once you've done that, whoops. Oh, okay, they don't want to connect for some reason. Come on, Aquaman! connect with these. There we go. I was like, what's going on? There we go. And once you've done that, basically all you do is you have this little tab right up down at the bottom here, and then once you press it, bam, that's gonna send your superhero into his or her super jump, which is pretty fun, and of course can actually interact with this little build. So speaking of this little build, let's go on ahead and push it on forward and take a look at the goodies over here. So of course this is supposed to be kind of an underwater, I guess maybe structure from Atlantis that has been broken apart, and Black Manta has kidnapped Robin and entrapped him, and then it is up to Aquaman and Batman to rescue poor old Robin. So of course Robin hangs on to here with the little chain that connects onto the back of his feet. So you just connect those in, and then he plugs right up onto here, which is pretty simplistic, really not too much to explain in that regard. I love the little details with the actual columns. I think it looks really sweet. It kind of looks like old Greece or something like that, at least in my personal opinion. And then of course the idea behind this is that you are supposed to try to launch Aquaman into this pillar so that he can try to grab that trident and then knock Mr. Robin loose. Now the way that it works is that basically you pull on this little tab, and then that allows this mechanism to fall down, which will free Robin. And the idea is that you are supposed to go ahead and aim and then fire. Whoa, I almost did it. I almost did it. That was almost first try. That was almost on the first try. And fire. Woohoo, there we go. We freed Robin, which is pretty sweet indeed. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and move on to the vehicles. Alrighty, so first up, of course, we've got Black Manta's ship, which is very, very, very cool looking. But before we take a look at the Black Manta ship itself, of course, you probably just saw a little bit of the cool elements about this, and that is the fact that these little white studs that they use for the set are actually glow in the dark, which is pretty spooky, but at the same time quite cool. So I guess that would be quite useful underwater where it's very, very dark, so it would be useful to have some light. So, first of all, we've got his little buddy old pal right here, which is the rocket-powered shark. Now, of course, as you can see, it is indeed supposed to be and meant to be a robotic shark, so at least it makes a little bit more sense as to why it would have rockets, but it is pretty cool that you could just have this little shark floating on about. Of course, it can go ahead and jump on up and down. I found it interesting that they went ahead and used a different colored head, but I guess maybe that's to symbolize that it's robotic more so than usual. And then, of course, you got these two little removable missiles up at the top here that connect onto this little arm, which allows you for a little bit of articulation to really pose however you would like let's say he's floating, and then he would release the missiles onto his target. In this case, it would be, of course, Batman and Aquaman. So that's the little shark right there, which is awesome. Definitely one of my favorite parts of this set. But speaking of my favorite parts of this set, this is my favorite part of this set, and that is the Black Manta ship. I absolutely adore the way that this thing has come together. I loved building it. It was a ton of fun. I love that the entire mechanism here kind of looks a lot like Black Manta himself. It even looks like a manta ray, so that's really cool with the, you know, the broad opening here. There are some lovely details with a little bit of sticker work right on the front here, and then on the two wings. I love that it's not too bulky. It's quite flat. I kind of wish that the front here was even flatter, because I think it would just look even more menacing and even cooler. Got this little propeller that does spin in the back, which is pretty sweet indeed. This missiles up at the front here, which of course once again have the glow in the dark elements, actually fire off by pushing these little buttons, these little levers right up at the front here, and they do fire pretty far away actually. So this is not a flick fire missile, and I prefer these little missile firing mechanisms a little bit better than the flick fire missiles, but this is really cool, and they fire quite far away, so don't fire them on a desk or something, because they're just going to fly away and you're not going to know where they are. Now, other than that, of course, we have these little tubing mechanisms that come through, which is really nice as well. And I forgot to mention, there is another sticker up at the top here. Again, trying to create that kind of, you know, Black Manta design with the gray, red, and blacks coming together to make a very cool look indeed. You got these little flaps right up at the top here as well, opening up and down. So you can, again, customize that to your liking. And last but certainly not least, of course, the canopy does open up. First of all, I love the shape of the canopy and the color that they went with. This orange color is really cool. It kind of is coming off more like red on my camera, which I'm not sure as to why that is, but it is bright orange, which is really cool. And then of course it opens up to reveal the mastermind himself, Black Manta, who has plenty of room in there, along with a little computer right down inside right there, which has a little bit of print work as well on it through a sticker, which is pretty neat indeed. It actually is also a pretty good size, so I like that as well. I was kind of worried, since it's a smaller set, that the ship itself would be quite tiny, but it actually turned out to be quite hefty and a ton of fun to play with. Alrighty, and last but certainly not least, we have the Bat Boat, or maybe I guess it'd be more correct to call it the Bat Submarine, because of course it does go underwater. I love building this thing. Of course, it keeps the tone of the other Lego Batman vehicles that we have gotten, including the Batmobile and the Batwing and the Batpod. I mean, we've gotten a ton of vehicles at this point, but this thing is quite cool because I like how it borrows some classical elements, like the little rotational thing that you would have, you know, on a typical submarine. So that's cool. You have a nice little Batman logo. Of course, Batman has to brand everything. A beautiful wing right up at the back here, which is quite cool. Kind of reminds me of the Bat, what was it called? The Batwing, I think? The jet kind of thing. Remember that would open up? I did a review for it, so it kind of reminds me of that. And then, of course, right up in the middle here, we have the opening canopy, which does reveal the Dark Knight himself. He does have a little steering wheel to control this thing underwater as he is facing Black Manta and any other bad guys for that matter. I really like the fact that you don't have to have him lying down. He can actually sit up. Thanks to his shorter ears, this canopy closes all the way without any issues, so I definitely like that quite a bit. And then, of course, we do need a little bit of weapons. So what we have is these rotating missiles. Now, these are flick fire. I kind of wish that they were the same way that we saw it on the Black Manta vehicle, just because I prefer those missiles. But, of course, if you want, you can just flick this and then it will fly off. And the cool thing is that you can actually aim, which is pretty neat as well. Now, additionally to that, right up in the back here, we have this little, I guess kind of like a tracking robot or like a little Bat Scout, Underwater Scout, which is quite cool. I guess you could send this to rescue Robin, for example. Once he falls down, this thing would come in, pick him up, and then bring him back to the Bat Boat. And as you can see, it still looks decent, even without it. It doesn't look like there's a giant hole there or something like that, so that's very, very well designed, and in general, very, 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 very fun to mess around with. And there you have it, guys. That is the entire set right there, and I have to say this set is very much a step in the right direction. Goodness gracious, I just knocked the Bat Submarine out of the way, because if you remember my reviews for the other DC superhero Lego sets, I would often say that I want some other characters. I don't want just Batman and Superman. I want to see some other characters, and that's exactly what we're getting with these new sets. We got Black Manta now, we got Aquaman, we got a variation of Robin, a better Batman. I think this is actually the best iteration of Batman, and just a really fun set. You get two very, very cool and unique weapons, a little cool little display to use underwater scenes or whatever it is that you come up with, and then of course you get the new superhero jumper, or super jumper I should say, and yeah, overall just a really, really solid set. I definitely would recommend picking this one up. Let me know what you guys thought of the set. What was your favorite minifigure? What was your favorite vehicle? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you feel sorry for Mr. Robin having to dangle there all the time? I certainly do. That being said, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. That really would help me out a ton. This video took a ton of time to put together. As you might have seen, I actually had to edit around. What I typically would do is I would actually assemble bit by bit, but this time around I kind of did a little bit more jump cuts just because it was taking a long time. I didn't want to have the building phase going on for like 7 minutes because that would have just been unbearable. That being said, thanks all for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. That really does help me out a ton. Have a fantastic day. I will indeed see you folks next time. Peace out. See you later, alligators.